This morning in the news, we were attacked by giant, crazy chickens. Trove reports that the chickens are extremely overpowered and will be nerfed shortly. Thank you, Rob. Back to the news. Well, first of all, welcome back, everyone. Have a seat, sit down, stay a while, listen. So the patch came out this week. I didn't think that would happen. I didn't. I wasn't expecting to see it until next week because I assumed that there was a lot of fixes to be fixed, but there weren't, and it came out. And it still came out with a lot of bugs, but hey, it's beta. What can we do? So anyway, yeah. This week in Trove, what is up? I'm Tiny, and this is What's Up with Trove, the show where we talk about everything Trove. In case you're new here, welcome, and we're glad to have you. So, and I don't know if I said it, but this is episode 11. We're into the double digits. Whoa! I said that was last week. Anywho, I didn't really do too much in Trove except for stockpiling tons and tons of flux and materials for what I thought was going to be the patch next week, but we got it this week, and I will go over everything that happened with the patch shortly. I also hit 94 mastery. When the patch came out, my mastery jumped up about 10 levels after getting everything, the new class and a bunch of other stuff and some mounts. So yeah, 94 mastery, and I am only 6 away from getting my first chaos coin, and I'm very, very excited to get that. Very excited to get a chaos chest every day for the rest of my Trove days. But yeah, that's about it. So the patch came out, and I should have had that up here. The patch came out, and it is called the Monster Bash update. It's really half of what we were expecting. They took the patch and they kind of split it into two almost. This week we got the new class and the new boss mechanics, and next week we're getting the new forging system. So I can go into more detail about the forging system next week. So this week we're just going to focus on the flask updates and the boss mechanics and the new class as well. So anyway, the flask update, you're probably asking yourself, there was an update to the flasks? Yeah, they split the flasks into 2 different items now with different effects. And it's kind of a little bit confusing and overwhelming at first, but after you sit and analyze it for a minute, it really smooths itself out and becomes a really unique and awesome feature to Trove, and adds a lot of customization to each player. So basically the flasks were split into 2 parts, vials and emblems. And real fast, all of your previous flasks that you owned, if you had any flasks, were transitioned over for free, of course, to this new system. And actually a couple flasks, don't know why that is such a hard word to say. A couple flasks were up priced actually this patch. I don't have those specifically, but the flasks were switched over and converted to the new system. Vials, you can only have 1 vial now. And the vials are basically your number of charges and how much health your potion will heal. Comes in a couple different ones. There's like, I think it's 40 and 60 and 100% flasks. So those are the vials, and they also give you a certain number of charges as well for your flask. And then the emblems, which you can have 2 of. Maybe in the future we'll be able to put 2 or 3 or 4 in based on your vial, but for now we have 2. So the flasks basically grant you your abilities that the flask would give you. Um, Flasks and vials. I am stuttering tonight. So anyway, they grant you the powers for the flask. The power of the flask, 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 flask. So yeah, there's a ton of them, and there are going to be tons more. But for now, we have a 50% energy regeneration, 100% health regeneration, double physical damage, more magic damage. Some interesting new ones are AoE heals, area of effect heals. Basically, you drink your potion and it shoots out a heal to everybody around you, all of your allies. And there's also one that does that same thing for energy regen. So there's a lot of like teamwork stuff. You can kind of coordinate with your group to see what flasks and emblems everyone is using, and maybe even form a better cooperative group with that. I like that a lot. Adds more requirement for teamwork to Trove, but if you don't want to, you don't have to. But it might make those Uber 5 Shadow Arenas a bit more smooth. And also there's attack speed and life steal. And my personal favorite, which is actually broken this week too, hence the title is the title of the show this week, is the I didn't write the name down, but I like to call it the chicken bonanza. Basically, you drink your flask and a shadow chicken pops out and will just destroy everything in its path. If you're watching the video, he's right there. Hey there, little buddy. He pops out of the flask, and I think you can have a maximum of 3 at a time per person. So if you have a shadow arena with 8 people, and each person has this flask, and that's 24 chickens out there doing bonus damage. It's crazy. And it also kind of hints at maybe, possibly, a pet class in Trove. I don't know. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. If you're listening, Tryon, we'd love one. That's a big want for people. But anyway, I mentioned that the chicken bonanza is broken, and it really is. The patch came out on Tuesday, and almost immediately people were realizing that this little guy's damage was overpowered. Apparently in the code, the chicken is supposed to scale to your damage, and somehow an A was replaced with a B, and some numbers were switched around, maybe even a misplaced decimal point. And it was scaling to the damage of bosses and enemies of the level that you're in. So people were one-shotting and two-shotting everything. And I mean everything in the game. Shadow Giants, Shadow Arenas, Shadow Dungeons. I was actually in a Shadow Dungeon with a bunch of people. We were just chaining them. I think we did 40 or 50 of them in 3 or 4 hours. So it was definitely broken. And actually, right now, that is being fixed. That's also why I don't have a green screen behind me tonight, is because Trove is actually down right now because they are fixing that game-breaking bug. I'm not sure if there are going to be any repercussions for it. I can't imagine it because it wasn't too bad. But yeah, so chickens broke Trove this week. And then along with the vials, the starter vial, the very first vial that you get in the game, was nerfed a little bit. Previously, it gave 10 charges and restored your health by 50%, but now it gives 8 charges and restores 40%, which isn't too bad. It isn't that bad of a change, because after actually your first day in Trove, if you're doing the golden thread, you will probably have a new flask before the end of that. So your starter flask isn't going to last you too long, and before you know it, you'll have those emblems and different flasks, and you'll be on your own adventure. The chests are also changed, and this is a huge, huge, huge quality of life I mean, I can't stress enough how excited I am for this part of the patch. I think I'm almost more excited than the boss mechanics. Um, but anyway, the chests now ah lost the wording there. Basically, you no longer have to have items in your inventory to craft. So you can put all of your stuff minus your flux if you want to. You can pretty much put everything in your chest and never have to carry it around because you can go and craft and it will just automatically pull from your chest. So it frees up a ton of room while you're out there adventuring and you don't have to carry everything with you. I think I went from maybe 12 open slots in my inventory to almost an entire inventory free of space. I think I really only carry my bombs, my fishing lures, my flux, and my glim, and my shadow keys because those don't work as well. So it's a great change and a wonderful, huge, unseen. I didn't predict that would be happening anytime soon for Trove. So great call on that for the developers. Now you've also heard me talking about boss mechanics. In a lot of games, RPGs in particular, bosses tend to have mechanics, different abilities, different spells. Trove had a couple, like swinging the swords and whatnot for the shadow giants. This week, all of the bosses in Trove got a huge update and now have, I guess you could say, a pool of abilities that will randomly be chosen for that boss. And so each boss will kind of be unique in its own way. Couple of those different abilities in the pools, and a lot of these are really cool. But like multiplication, so the boss will duplicate itself. And so you'll have to fight 2 or 3 of the same boss at the same time, doing these mechanics as well. So it kind of gets a little hectic. They'll also pull you closer. Like the punch bots, those are terrifying now. I mean, they were terrifying before because they hit you and knock you back and you'd probably land in lava and die. But now they have the ability to pull you in. So the punch bot will basically push you out and then pull you back in and push you out and pull you in. And just, yeah, terrifying. They can also shoot lasers now, shoot bullets, and they can also stop you from jumping. And also damage shields and mushrooms and spiders, and it's just crazy. All the bosses are doing things and Trove is progressing and I love it. It's great. And the other part, and I kind of saved the best for last, is the new class this week. It's the Boomeranger. If anybody is a fan of Nintendo, they will probably notice quite a few similarities with a certain character named Link. He's very similar to Link from The Legend of Zelda. They are calling him the Master of Bow, Blade, Bomb, and Boomerang. Hence the Boomeranger. He has some neat abilities. One unique thing about the class is he's all cooldown driven. He does not have an energy bar. It's the first class of Trove to not have an active energy bar, which makes energy regeneration completely useless for the class. Which is good because then you can stack other abilities. But basically, the Boomeranger can use both swords and bow, or both sword or bow. There we go. I had to word that right there because a lot of players were confused with that, thinking that they could use a sword and a bow, but no, that is wrong. You can only use a sword or a bow. Their attack is in a 3-set burst, I guess you could say. Basically, you click you attack once and you do your first ability, which is depending on what you have equipped. The sword does just like a slice and then another slice and then a charge up spin, and so you'll spin your blade in a circle. With the bow, you actually do kind of, it's just like a straight shot with the bow. So you fire 2 shots and then you charge up your bow and shoot it and shoot out 3 arrows straight at the enemy for kind of a semi cone effect. And like I said, everything is cooldown. Everything is cooldown based. You have a bomb that you can throw, and it explodes. And then you also have a urn of mysterious powers, and that has several different effects. It's very random what can happen, but basically you throw this urn and it shatters, and that does damage. It goes boom, and one of 3 or 4 things I think can happen. Has a chance to spawn 3 chickens that will attack and draw enemy aggro. Another thing that it could possibly do is heal you and your allies around, and it could also explode into more bombs. So it's very random. And then the main feature, I guess, of the class is a boomerang, and you throw your boomerang, and not only does it go through the enemies and hit them and come back to you, if you catch it, it lowers your cooldowns. So you kind of have to time it right to use your boomerang and time your cooldowns right. It's a very, very unique class, and personally, I'm not a huge fan of that class. But I will get it to level 20 for the mastery points at least. But I'll probably be switching back to my pirate after that. It's just not fast. I'm a fan of fast classes like the pirate. You're constantly throwing bombs and constantly throwing your little pirate buddy minion dummy dude out, and explosions and fast attack speed. The Boomeranger is more of a relaxed, slowed down, analyze the situation and then go in kind of class. It's more of a support class, really. So that's the Boomeranger. Stats, nobody's really certain on it. He or she uses physical damage for bows or swords, and I'm pretty sure that it's probably going to come down to attack speed, health, and maybe jump as a last option, or health regen, whatever you choose, really. Pretty much anything except for what's the stat I just lost? Energy regen, because they don't have energy regen. So yeah, that's pretty much the all of the game news in itself. Like I said, it was very unexpected this week to get that patch. I thought we'd be getting everything. Next week we're going to be getting the stats, not the stats change, but like the forging update, and tentacles are getting reworked a little bit. Heads up, as a rumor, is on the stream they mentioned that you might want to use your tentacles to reroll your stats now instead of later, because apparently next patch, next week, the tentacles will only be able to reroll certain stats. I think it's the added stats to it, probably 1 out of 3, and then your pearl that you use on it. So make sure you get all your gear set up and ready to go. And then also next week, we're supposed to be getting a new level of rarity. But we'll get into that next week when we have more solid news on that. Those are all just rumors. In the store news, this week's Chaos Chest is themed for Party Week. Yay, party! Da 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 da. Anyway, there's party animals, club phones, ladybug mounts, stormcaller wings, tons and tons of stuff. In the Chaos Chest. So hopefully some people can get some awesome loot from that, and I wish you all luck for that. Also, we got a new adventure pack, and these adventure packs seem to be coming almost on a monthly basis. It kind of almost feels like a $20 per month subscription. At least that's how I'm looking at it, because I pretty much buy every single pack that they have, and that's what it ends up being, is around about $20 a month, it seems, because every pack is about $20 and they come out with a new one every month. But this one is themed all around the Boomeranger. It's $20 in American money, at least, and comes with the Boomeranger class, 2 costumes, and 7 flasks. Those flasks also include a couple emblems as well, I do believe. Don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% certain about the emblems, but so it's a great pack. Probably just because I'm not a huge fan of the Boomeranger itself, it's not as high as some of the other packs. But if you have the extra money to buy it, I'd say pick it up. It's a great deal. It saves you money because it's cheaper than buying all of the flasks individually and buying the 2 costumes individually and buying the class individually as well. So yeah, new pack, hashtag pack hype. Also, miscellaneous news is the mastery cap was raised to 160, but at the moment there are no rewards for that yet. Those are coming soon, but they are not here yet. So anybody who was currently at mastery cap will now have to hit 160 to get their mastery cap chaos chest, chaos coin to get their chaos chests. But yeah, that's pretty much going to be it. Since the patch was this week, I don't really have a community spotlight. Next week I might have one because it'll probably be a smaller, shorter episode. But yeah, that's pretty much going to be it. If you want to find me, easiest way to get me is either on Twitter at Alan91330. You can also find me in game or on the forum, on the Trove forums as Tiny. Tiny is my name in game, just TINY. And you can email the show at whatsupwithtrove@gmail.com. You can find the show notes at whatsupwithtrove.blogspot.com. And of course, I'll have a link to the YouTube video and the Reddit link and SoundCloud as well, if you want to listen to the audio format as well. And that's going to pretty much cut it for this episode, and I will see you all in game or next week.